And for those of you who say that imitation is the highest form of flattery and I shouldn't get all bent out of shape, you know, I have one thing to tell you. Shut up. Every week, millions of people watch self-defense videos on YouTube thinking they're learning how to survive real violence. But what they're really watching are unqualified amateurs. No history, no experience, no right to teach real-world combat. And when real violence hits, those grifters are going to get people hurt or even killed. Today, I'm exposing the frauds. Welcome to Warrior Walk. Now, I've only been on YouTube for a short period of time, and already I'm shocked at what I see. This platform is crawling with absolute frauds. Retired boxers clinging to relevance, out-of-shape hobbyists pretending to be experts, and 20-something children who've never faced real violence a day in their lives. And the worst part, people are falling for this hook, line, and sinker. They can't spot it, but I can, and what I see is pure bullshit. The first fraud we have is the washed-up boxer. Now this guy, he has some accomplishments in boxing. Maybe he's won Golden Gloves or the Olympics, and he runs a boxing channel and teaches boxing techniques, you know, your standard fare. And then he decides to expand, and he decides to start teaching reality-based self-defense. So not only is he teaching boxing ring techniques, he's teaching you how to survive in the worst case scenario where your life is on the line. And he's teaching how to deal with multiple attackers, weapons, pre-contact scenarios, and he thinks that he's actually qualified to teach, which is absolutely laughable. This individual, a boxing instructor, a retired boxer, is no more qualified to teach reality-based self-defense than a football coach. And for you guys who think that a jab, a rear cross, bob and weave and slip, that's all applicable for the street, I've said this in so many of my videos and books. You're out to lunch, because that will never work. That stuff is a pipe dream. You're gonna get your ass handed to you by someone who's a seasoned, vicious criminal and who has nothing to lose. Next is the delusional hobbyist. This guy has no combat experience. He has one of those out-of-shape bodies, completely out of condition, total dad bod, and thinks that he's gonna set up shop on YouTube and teach you how to protect yourself and your loved ones from a vicious street assailant. So he decides teaching some half-assed techniques, he develops a following, and he becomes popular. This is how this stuff happens. And I could tell you what really gives it away: the body. The body tells the story. If, you know, these guys have to realize your body is a calling card, especially in this industry. And if you don't walk the talk, you're full of shit. And it's just irritating to see these guys who you could tell they don't work out, they don't watch their nutrition, they don't diet, they don't stay in shape, they don't stay sharp. Okay, they're these has-beens of something they used to be, and they think that they can teach something as complex and as dangerous as reality-based self-defense. It's purely shocking to see these guys in clear conscience teach this stuff. With me, I live, breathe, and sleep reality-based self-defense. Everything from training in the gym for hours, watching what I'm eating, staying sharp, looking the part. You gotta walk the talk. You can't have a 45-inch waist and think that anyone's gonna take you seriously. But look, guys, go on YouTube. You're gonna see these guys. They are so out of shape, it's horrible. They believe that it's purely cerebral and that you don't have to be in great shape or have a real strong, formidable body. Well, let me tell you something. No one is going to take you seriously. And in the streets, if you're not combatively conditioned, you're in a lot of trouble. That's why the War Machine is such an important part of my life. And that's why I wrote the book. It's actually like a Bible to me. It really laid down the foundation of how I would live my life. And I'm telling you, it's really worked out well in terms of what it's provided me. It's actually made me more formidable than I was in my 30s. This is a much more vicious animal than I was when I was younger, because I knew that I was going to get older, and I knew I needed a blueprint to stay sharp as I aged. And War Machine did it. Next, we have the cocky kid. This is some 20-something punk who decides to run a YouTube channel, and he starts teaching reality-based self-defense, even though He's so damn young, he doesn't even have any life experience, but he thinks that he can teach you how to survive the street's worst. No battle scars, no real experience whatsoever, but he's dabbled in martial arts, maybe boxing, he's fit, maybe he's got a really toned physique, and he decides that he can start teaching reality-based self-defense. And by the way, there's so many other frauds. I can get into the whole fitness industry and how they try to exploit reality-based self-defense. But anyway, the cocky kid, he has no world experience. He hasn't had battle scars. Let me tell you, I have had many fights in my life, lots of real world experience, okay? I can talk from experience. That's what this warrior walk is about. Sharing my stories with you, things that I experienced, the fights I've been in, the encounters. These guys, they have no experience. But they're really good with social media. They know how to promote on Instagram, TikTok, and they generate very large followings. And I'm all for people developing a channel, doing well on social media, only if you are qualified, only if you really are legit, you are the shit. And if you're not, man, you're on my bad side. The truth is, with age comes wisdom. These guys are still babies. They have not seen the world. They have not had experiences. The ones that can teach other people not to make the same mistakes. Next is the cage worshiper. Now this guy, he does MMA or BJJ, and he feels that everything he learns in the octagon or in the boxing ring can easily translate to the streets. This guy lives by rules, regulations, weight divisions. He gets his little break period, has water, a coach, all the wonderful amenities of having a sport combat structure. But you go in the street, let me tell you, you're gonna get ripped to shreds, especially against a seasoned criminal who's absolutely vicious and brutal. He is going to eat you up and spit you out. Now, the problem with these guys is they don't have the proper paradigm. They don't know any better. They don't even have exposure to real street fighting. Now, you may get one or two guys that have scuffled in the street, but training for reality-based self-defense, that's a lifelong commitment. That's not something you just mix a little BJJ, a little bit of boxing, a little bit of Muay Thai. It doesn't work like that. You can teach it and it's a bunch of crap, but it's not reality-based self-defense. Now, I've argued with these guys many times, and it goes through one ear and out the other. They are drinking the Kool-Aid. They don't want to hear the real truth because it affects their ego. You know, when you do mixed martial arts, to many of these guys, it's their identity, and they're very tribal. So if you critique them in any way, shape, or form, even in a euphemistic manner, they're going to be offended. And you know, it's funny, I've had the MMA and the BJJ crowd in my studio. I've had guys who are black belts in the BJJ, and I put them through, I run them through some of my reality-based drills like simulated street fighting or some pre-contact simulated street fight where there's a go, no go, multiple attackers, knife defense, knife fighting. And let me tell you, they perform terribly because they don't have the structure, they don't have the skill, they don't have the technique, they don't have the mindset. It's a completely different animal out there. And it's just sad because they're teaching techniques that they think are applicable and will work, when in reality, it's not going to save your ass in a fight. Next we have the Gman Gladiator. Now this guy worked in the FBI or the CIA or some federal agency, and he's probably worked in a cubicle most of his life as an analyst, or maybe he's got some experience in the field and maybe stayed in some hotbed countries, and he thinks that qualifies him to teach real world combat. Even though he's never experienced it himself, he may have been on the gun range, or he's probably taken some courses from instructors, but he feels because he can use CIA, FBI, or some other agency, alphabet agency on there, that's going to give him qualifications. Well, let me tell you something, it doesn't, because those are the agencies that hire guys like me to teach them reality-based self-defense. And you know what the real giveaway is? The body. You could tell this guy has no idea what hard living is. He has no idea what it's like to have a lifestyle of combat conditioning. He has no idea what it's like to hit the heavy bag thousands of times. He has no idea what it's like to work in real world conditions where people actually attack you. These are the guys, you know, but they do it because they're retired, maybe they're bored, they need a hobby. Some of them probably need money. and they decide to start a YouTube channel. And there's a slew of other frauds. You got these police officers that look like they spent most of their life in donut shops and have never really trained, but because they have a tack vest on and they got their uniform on and they got their Sam Brown and their gun, that they're gonna teach you. Well, there are some good cops out there that can teach reality-based self-defense, but I'm telling you, the vast majority that are on social media such as YouTube, TikTok, they're frauds. And then we have the worst kind. It's called the Sammy Franco copycat. Yes, these are the guys that steal my stuff. These are the guys that verbatim say the same thing that appear in my books and my videos. Now, I know you guys might be saying that there's parallel thinking, right? And that maybe they stumbled on the same concept as you, right? No, I've been doing this and publishing since 1989, okay? Worldwide. I've been in just about every martial art magazine as a featured writer. I have been producing over 50 videos and distributed for decades internationally, okay? I published 60 books, which do incredibly well worldwide. So my information is disseminated all over the world. So I can tell when someone is using my methodology, or someone is using my terminology, or someone is using my unique approach. Now, some of you guys who know about my books, what I call my constant readers, you guys know that in back of every book of mine, I have a glossary of terms, a very large glossary of terms, because the lexicon and terminology in contemporary fighting arts is unique. And so a lot of these terms I put in the back of the book so you understand it's a language, there's a language system to contemporary fighting arts. So I know when someone is using my terminology and my lexicon, and it drives me up the wall. You know, that reminds me, way back in the 90s when I think it was Napster, yeah. Napster was letting people download free music off the internet, and everybody was just jumping in, just stealing all kinds of intellectual property. And I remember Metallica filed a lawsuit. They were infuriated by the concept of it. They were so mad, they sued them for intellectual property theft. And I was so glad they did that, because when you steal another artist's work and you do not compensate them, nothing gets me more riled up than that. And I've had lots of people steal my products, my videos, putting them up on torrents and crap like that. And you know, it infuriated me when I saw that. And what made me even more upset were the Metallica fans. And they were basically saying, you know, to the band, you know, who are you guys to complain? You guys are multi-millionaires, you get paid all the time. And that's not the point. It's their sweat equity. It's their intellectual property. And stealing it is just unconscionable. So the people do the same thing when it comes to reality-based self-defense. Steal my concepts. I've had guys who try to plagiarize my books, and I've shut them down because of it. And for those of you who say that imitation is the highest form of flattery and I shouldn't get all bent out of shape, you know, I have one thing to tell you. Shut up. Because you have never created anything in which someone has stolen, okay, and has benefited from it and not compensate you. You don't know what that feeling is like. It's called theft, okay, and you have every right to be upset. So these are the guys. They steal it, they wrap it up differently, and they sell it on YouTube to get clicks, monetization, and make money, because it's always about money. It's never about integrity. It's never about combative truth. It's never about offering people a real solution to a problem. It's always about making money. And you know, it makes me sick. Guys, the sad truth is this. Most people don't know any better. And I get it. I don't blame them. But hopefully you can share this video, send it to other people, let it carry out. Let people be more critical of people who teach reality-based combat, because guys, this is life and death stuff, okay? This is it. This is the end, right? And if you get it wrong, you're gonna die. Handicapped, maimed, brain dead. I mean, I could keep going down the list. You have to tell people, you have to spread the word that quality matters, certification matters. Look, I know this sounds like a real rant, and it is, because I've been doing this for such a long time, okay? I've been in the reality-based industry. I was one of the original pioneers of reality-based self-defense, okay? I was out there with Bradley Steiner and some of the other guys that started this. So you're looking at the guy that started this genre. So when I see how it's evolved over 30 plus years, you can't help but get pissed off at it. And that's why I've held so true to contemporary fighting arts. I never sold out. I never tried to create dojos all over the place to try to make money or, run these certification programs. There are some reality-based guys out there who are giving certifications when they don't even meet you. And let me tell you, that's bullshit. That's a guy that's looking just to make money and to spread the name. That's all it is. Don't you guys want to really be certified? I mean, do you really want to take some online course and then he mails you something and you can have bragging rights that you study or you're certified in some way to teach this combat system? But deep down in your heart of hearts, you know it's bullshit. At the end of the day, it's up to you to scrutinize who you let into your head and who influences your training. Start thinking critically. And if you want the unvarnished truth about real combat, you're on the right channel. Walk in peace, but be prepared for war.